And a happy Monday to everybody out there on Facebook watching us live today, also on Twitter and on our YouTube channel. We appreciate you guys tuning in. My name is Tony Rose. This is the Tony Rose Livecast. Again, another week off and running. Of course, today, in honor of May 4th, and may the 4th be with you, I'm rocking my official Star Wars gear. Very cool. And today, a very special guest for us as well. Of course, the news breaking just a little bit ago that we've got one of our very own coming up here in just a few weeks on NBC television as part of one of the most fascinating and athletic television shows out there, hosted and created by The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. We are joined by one of the contestants on the new season of the Titan Games on NBC, the one and only, my buddy, Bartley Weaver. What's up, my man? How are you doing?
You know, I like to get it as soon as I can. So
That's right. You are the king of getting the word out there, buddy. And I appreciate you taking some time. How you doing, buddy?
great, man. Doing great. Feeling good. A little sleepy from that 13,000 calorie cheat meal last night, but we're going to go to the gym here later and try to work it off.
Well, we're going to definitely talk about that rock challenge that you laid down right there. But first of all, let's just jump right into this incredible news that was shared with us across multiple social media platforms out there, including NBC, including The Rock, and so many others. The news that you are going to be part of the brand new season of the Titan Games on NBC, of course, which you can watch locally here in Bowling Green in Southern Kentucky on WNKY. Uh, Tell us what you can tell us right now. This experience. First of all, when can we see you along with The Rock on NBC as part of the Titan Games?
Well, they haven't given us much information yet. I do know that it is airing on the 25th, primetime TV. So I think there's going to be a 2 hour premiere. Uh, Episodes following that would probably be 1 hour, if I had to guess. Not sure which episode I'm going to be on, but uh, we started filming in Los Angeles in January um, during the combine. So you know, I was fortunate enough to make it on the show. So we filmed in Georgia. So I'm thinking that all the people that were at the combine will be on episode one, the premiere. I would guess.
So tell us a little bit about, for the folks who may not be totally familiar with it, but the Titan Games on NBC. Tell us a little bit about the premise of the show, how it operates, how it works, and the physical demand that it takes on its contestants. Because when I think of it, I think it's a little bit American Ninja Warrior, it's a little bit American Gladiators, and it's definitely got the attitude of The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Tell us about what the Titan Games on NBC is all about.
Yeah, that's for sure. The company that owns the Titan Games owns Ninja Warrior as well. So it's got the Ninja Warrior feel to it, but all the obstacles are more strength and endurance based.
Right.
The Rock supposedly came up with these obstacles and had the idea of these different challenges. You know, something that he would excel at. So everybody knows how big a boy he is, and so
Uh,
they were larger than life. I'll tell you that.
Let's talk a little bit about The Rock. Of course, he is one of the biggest stars in all of Hollywood, as he was one of the biggest stars in all of professional wrestling after his career at the University of Miami. What was your interaction with him on this show? Obviously, when you're a contestant on a show like this, or a competitor on a show like this, you're going to get a chance to meet everybody involved. What was your reaction, and what has your reaction been like with The Rock since you guys taped the Titan Games?
Well, I've looked up to The Rock since back in the wrestling days. I mean, you know, it's hard not to love the personality, and he was always one of the bigger guys on wrestling. So anybody that's into lifting weights, is typically drawn to personality and a guy of that stature. So you know, and more than anything, I've kind of idolized him. The way he operates, the way he runs multiple businesses
Right.
at the same time. He's virtually doing what I'm doing, but on a grand, multi $1 million scale. But that's something that I told him when I had some time to talk to him. I was like, I just, people ask me, how I do it, how many irons I've got in the fire. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, what do you think the Rock's got?
Right.
So, it was just awesome being able to meet him. He was the most humble, down to earth person you could ever imagine. He knew about the contestants on the show. It's like he actually did his research and actually personally selected who was going to be on the show. So
We're
it was
talking
pretty
to
awesome.
Bartley Weaver, Dreamweaver Fit, of course, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can find him there. Great stuff, and you can also see him on the brand new season of the Titan Games on NBC, which premieres on May the 25th, which is going to be fantastic. And honestly, I'm just craving for some athletic competition in general right now. We don't have baseball, football. Who knows what's up with that? Basketball, of course, and hockey, both out of the picture. But it's just going to be good to have some content out there. Let's talk a little bit about your process when you went to shoot this show. How did they, kind of walk us through? Did you have to submit an application? I know a lot of people, they want to be on a reality show, or they want to be on a Survivor or a Big Brother or whatever the show may be, American Ninja Warrior. But the process can be absolutely grueling. And a lot of times the process to just get on the show is even harder than the actual show. What was your process like going through this? I was almost, for the folks who don't know, I was almost on a season of Big Brother. The fourth season of Big Brother, I made it to the producer cut round, right before you get to TV. Had to go to Atlanta and talk to producers and things like that. I don't think people realize how much you have to go through to be on a reality show. What was the casting process like before you ever got the call that you needed to come to a tryout? Were there interviews, phone interviews, things like that?
What's funny about it is, okay, I was thinking about doing season 1, so I had a bunch of people was like, "Hey, man, this looks you right up your alley. You'd love it." And I was like, "Yeah, I know I would."
Yeah.
So I filled out the application. It was like 15 pages long, background, everything you could possibly think of, and it got to the end, and it was like, we need a 3-minute video clip telling us why um, you want to be on the Titan Games, or why do you think that you would excel at the Titan Games. So started procrastinating, and I was like, man, I don't know what to make. I don't feel like editing a bunch of stuff. And so I actually procrastinated my way out of season 1 and never finished it.
Right.
But luckily you can save your profile there. So come around season 2, I was like, man, and it's a good thing I held out, because I had a lot more story time potential waiting a year, because I think that sealed my deal. Season 1, I'm going into it, I'm just a state trooper, personal trainer,
Right.
and like to eat. Okay, season 2, going into it, I'm a state trooper, personal trainer, now turned professional eater, now Hyperion with the Tennessee Titans.
Right.
And so I entered the very last day on the deadline, and I got a phone call about 30 minutes after the email was sent. He was like, "Oh my gosh, man, why'd you wait this long?" It's like, "Man, you're perfect." He was like, we need the Titan on the Titan Games."
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I've been putting it off. I guess it's time to do it. So, it was pretty easy. It was easy. All I did was get on my YouTube and just mesh
Right.
pro eating stuff with Titan stuff with, fundraisers. They really like the Dustathon,
Right.
the
For Trooper Island, right? Yeah, or for the shopping for for the kids. Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about that. Let's just segue right into because anybody around here who has been to a Tennessee Titans football game in the 2019 season, they got a chance to see you there as Hyperion. What is the official title for Hyperion? Because he's not a mascot. He's not. Is he the interactive game experience? What does your business card say when you're Hyperion?
I kind of like the game day superhero.
I like that
title. I actually asked the Titans. I had to get approval from them because the Titan games wanted to use me in uniform.
Right.
So I had, and I didn't really know what to call myself either. So they just told me to say Hyperion of the Tennessee Titans. So
Wow. Well, the that process, how does something like that come across your plate? Because again, it is it's really cool, man. Here you are. I was down in Nashville for some Titans games last year, including when the New Orleans Saints came to town. And there you are, larger than life, part of the game day experience out there when the national anthem is playing. For goodness sake, right there on the 50-yard line. Or about the 30-yard line, I guess, but still right there in the center of the field. What is that experience like when you're in a stadium with 60, 70,000 screaming Titans fans in it, and you're at the center of attention and all eyes are on you?
It's pretty surreal, man. It's kind of like WrestleMania every
Yeah.
Sunday. You're in the biggest stadium possible. It's packed. Everybody's crazy. Everybody's fired up to support their team. And the craziest part is, I've got my own intro, and I come out through the smoke and I yell, make noises, and flex. It just, I mean, it's pretty wild. You got the best seat in the house. I mean,
Yeah.
you walk around anywhere you want to on the field. It got towards the end of the season where I was doing more skits on the big Titantron.
Right. Yeah.
So I would go up for like the salute to service calls up in the upper deck, and people would be like, "Oh, there he is, Titan man. He's coming up here."
I'm as
So,
for 15 years, I was part of the WKU game day experience for both football and men's and women's basketball in some capacity for 15 years. I'm fascinated by the game day experience side of a pro football game, or whether it's a Predators game or a basketball game, or whatever it may be. And I don't think people ever appreciate how much production that goes into a game day presentation, whether it's a WKU basketball game or football game or a Tennessee Titans game. What is the day? What is game day like for the Tennessee Titans, especially for you? Like, what time do you like? Let's say for a 12 o'clock kickoff Central Time for the Titans. What time do you have to arrive at Nissan Stadium to start your game day process?
got to be there by 9 o'clock.
Okay.
So I share a locker room with T-Rack, which is the other mascot raccoon
Right.
that runs wild all over the field. Uh, we've got our own place. So depending on the weather, depends on how much I eat.
Okay.
We've got a big catered spread
Yep.
pregame and at halftime. So if it's summer, I've got to have some abs showing, so I can't gorge myself and then suck it in. It's too hard because you're basically holding your stomach in for 3 or 4 hours straight.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
next day I'm sore. So
Now, so I would assume you actually probably prefer working those November, December home games for the
yeah,
Titans.
yeah, those are good ones right there. I got the big chest piece and get to enjoy all the breakfast sandwiches there in the morning, and
Yeah.
we always have some hot chicken and brisket and macaroni and cheese and cookies at halftime. So
Let me
it's
ask
always
you.
good.
So, and then of course you're there for the game, and interactive all the way through the game with fans, taking picture upon picture. Let me ask. This is a question I think a lot of people would want to know. As Hyperion at Tennessee Titan home games, uh, are you take are you taking more pictures with the little guys and girls, the kids, or are you taking more pictures with not specifically grown-ups, but maybe the grown-up moms? How many pictures do you take with grown-up moms on game day?
I was about to say it's the older women that are probably stealing the most pictures. It's pretty funny. Depend on their level intoxication. That,
And the tailgating
try
festivities
to
right there, right? Yeah.
try to grab me or something. But yeah, I always look for the kids, because
Yeah.
they even took a picture with CJ2K's kids.
Oh, wow.
Chris,
Yeah.
Chris Johnson,
Yeah.
legend, and he told me after the game, he's like, "Hey man, my kids asked if you was a real life superhero."
And you're like, well, I mean,
It,
sure,
it,
why not, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and he went along with it. And he's like, "Yeah, he is, kids." And they're like, "Wow."
Oh, that's pretty cool. We're talking to Bartley Weaver. He is, of course, Hyperion at Tennessee Titan home football games. You see him out there on the field at all Titans games. He's also on the brand new season of the Titan Games on NBC, which are back on May the 25th, hosted by The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. He, along with other competitors, going for that Titan Games championship starting May the 25th. We cannot wait to see that here on WNKY, our local NBC affiliate. Speaking of football, of course, one thing that is on a lot of people's minds out there is the state of football, especially our Tennessee Titans right down the road. What is your vibe? Like, again, just as much as anybody else out there, and your opinion is just like anybody else's opinion right now. But what's your vibe on what the Tennessee Titans and Nissan Stadium is going to look like on week 1 of this NFL season?
Well, it depends what state you're playing in, and I'm
Yeah.
curious to see if they're gonna mandate the same for every team across the league, or are we going by certain states?
Yeah.
Because Tennessee has been pretty progressive. I mean, they're opening up stuff. I've been working out for the past week in Tennessee,
Right.
White House, Tennessee. I've been driving down a few times a week. They've got gyms open now, so they're a little ahead of us
Right.
on that. But I think football is going to be one of the first things back. I think
Yeah.
we've been shut down for so long, and whether they're going to try to space people out, which I don't see how you're going to be able to enforce that whatsoever.
Right.
But, I've heard that's been in the talks. Early on, they were saying football games with no fans. I don't think that'll happen. I mean,
Yeah.
it generates too much money for all these states and people coming in. So I don't think that'll happen. I think we're going to see a regular football season. And it might be pushed back a month
Right.
or something. That way teams can have time to practice and everything. But
Yeah.
I think we're going to see it normal.
We need it, man. I tell you. I think it's that sense of reality, and you talk about, we're missing out on baseball right now, but in many ways, especially the NFL and college football, that's America's pastime right now. So I think it's something where we definitely need to be striving towards that. On the other side of things, like I said, there's so many layers to the Bartley Weaver onion, man. Holy cow. On top of Titan games, on top of Hyperion, there is also the fact that you are most recently you almost were in the top 25 of competitive eaters in the country. Where do we stand right now in the competitive eating rankings right now, Bartley?
Well, they only do rankings right before July 4th every year, and
Right.
that's based on the past calendar year of competition. So I was actually signed up for the International Mutton Eating Championship.
Mutton.
Yeah, that's in Owensboro. So that was my first one ever last year. And
Wow.
also signed up for the West Virginia World Pepperoni Eating Road Championship.
I'm sorry. I can only chuckle because and the thing is I'm fascinated. I'm not just fascinated. I'm freaking fascinated by everything in the world of competitive eating. We've had you on the show several times and we're buddies. And of course, we've had Joey Chestnut on and we've had, Sonia Lee and so many others out there, the Black Widow. But I'm just absolutely fascinated by the world of competitive eating and what it takes to do this. And that great documentary, which ESPN put out on Joey Chestnut and Takiro Kobayashi, which you can see on the ESPN app and everything, and of course on their platforms. It's really the last dance of competitive eating in many ways. But how did you know that you had an ability for competitive eating on top of everything else. And the fact that you think of competitive eating, I think of guys like Eric, Badlands Booker, a monster of men. Here you are, chiseled out of granite, hanging out with The Rock, and then also eating competitively on the side. How does that become a like for somebody? Is it just that competition feeling right there?
Man, to be honest with you, you could ask anybody I ever grew up around. I was eating more than everybody and could never get full and just
Mm.
love eating. So, that kind of translated into, hey, let's do a couple amateur events. Let's go down to such and such fairgrounds and eat tacos for 5 minutes and win $100, and let's go here and go there. And there's a bunch of menu challenges around the world. So I love traveling. Every time I go to a different state, I try to do a food challenge in a different state. Um, so it started with that, and then
Mm.
I was like, man, hey, to be a pro athlete in
Yeah.
something, that would be pretty cool. So I was like, well, better roll with what God's blessed me with. That's a large appetite.
There you go.
So we entered the first the mutton one I was talking about. Entered that last year and beat a couple pros, and they extended me a 3-year contract for
Wow.
Major League Eating. So signed up with them and was ranked 32 of the top 50 in the first year. So
Wow.
yeah, I was planning on getting in the 20s this year, and I was definitely shooting for Coney Island, the Super Bowl of
Yeah.
competitive eating this year. But I don't, I don't see it happening. You,
I would love nothing more than to see the Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest happen. But of course, I believe everything that happens at the Nathan's hot dog eating contest is how the coronavirus would be spread. You have a lot of people crammed in with people spitting
yeah,
all over everything. I feel like it's just
yeah,
I don't see it happening. I don't know. They could put those like like we have at all the grocery stores now and stuff. The giant, plexiglass partitions. They could just
yeah,
cube every one of the competitors
yeah.
in each one of them. That would be a
Well,
sight to
what's
see.
interesting, I don't know if you saw it, but I think it was last week they opened up. I think it was the top 8 eaters in the world.
Yeah.
Of course, Chestnut and several of them. They had a bet online type of deal, and it was called the Quarantine Food Challenge,
Right.
and there were different rounds, and I mean, it's hard to judge debris on that, but they were still penalizing people a certain amount of seconds based on what they could see, but
Right.
it was like a Zoom, you know, food challenge. So it was pretty cool. I don't know if
Yeah.
I guess they could do something like that and put it on ESPN.
Where there's a will, there's a way, for sure. We will
Yeah,
find a way to
that's
do it.
it.
We're talking to Bartley Weaver. He is on the new season of the Titan Games on NBC, which premieres May 25th with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Also, you know him as Hyperion at Tennessee Titan home football games of the National Football League. We can't wait to see him back out there this season for that. And also competitively ranked in the world competitive eating rankings now as well, on top of so many other things out there, including a long arm of the law in there as well, which we appreciate your service there, being on those front lines for that. Real quick, buddy. So walk us through like what a cheat meal is for you, because what you did, I believe was it just last night, which we'll
Yeah,
see the
right.
video on on your YouTube channel, which is some great content if you ever want to check it out. But you went through the Rocks cheat meal challenge last night. Walk us through that and how you feel today.
Okay. I actually feel pretty great. We'll start back with why I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I knew this announcement was coming. I thought it would be relevant there. Thought it would also be relevant that The Rock follows me now. So I'm like, well, he's going to see what I post now.
Right.
He only follows 360 some people. So,
Right.
I follow 5 times that amount. So, you get to scrolling, you'll see what's going on.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, well, if I do this now, then he'll see it. And also told him in person back in February that I could do it. So I was like, well, I think now's the time. And he just turned 48 2 days ago, so I was like, well, it'll be a little birthday cheat meal for him. So We knocked down 13,000 calories last night. I videoed everything, and I've got it logged in MyFitnessPal, so I'll be able to flash that up on the screen and verify that
Right.
everything that I ate came out to that amount. So
So okay, so it was pizza, right? How much Papa John's pizza was in there?
it was 3 pizzas.
Okay.
One basically what I did, I found this picture from 2013,
Right.
and it looked like he had one large, two small pizzas, a dozen assorted donuts. He had like 4 cinnamon buns.
Right.
2 of them may have been fritters or something. I couldn't really tell.
Right.
Um, and then he had 4 muffins. So last night I went on a little journey in Nashville. I planned on doing it at my girlfriend's house so she
Right.
could help film it, but the power was down. So they had a big storm come through again last night,
Right.
and so I did my donut. I did all my dessert shopping in Nashville. Went to her place, killed about an hour time. I was like, well, I'm getting hungry. I'm gonna have to go to Bone Green and get these pizzas. So I drove an hour for pizzas. Um, I called them in, just as I passed the state line.
Yep.
Went and picked them up, told them how I wanted them, just like the Rocks picture. And it hurt me because last night
Yeah.
they told me they said well, you can get a large cheaper than you can get a small. I'm like, man, I don't need 3 larges. I was like, oh, I'm gonna need to eat 3 larges tonight. But let's just pay the extra for them smalls to make
Wow.
the picture look right.
But you got it down, and of course, that content is going up on your YouTube page, which they can check out there, along with some other great challenges on your Facebook as well. I know there was a Chick-fil-A challenge in there, which folks can go back and view, where you have the sauce challenge there for the Chick-fil-A sandwich. It's fantastic content. Like I'm into things like that. That's what I
Yeah.
catch myself scrolling through on social media a lot,
Yeah.
especially as I get older, because it's like, well, I remember the days when I could do that stuff. Bartley Weaver is with us. He, of course, is on the new season of the Titan Games on NBC, May 25th. Get out there and check that out. You're looking for some quality quarantine content. That is it for sure. We got the picture up on the screen right now for the folks watching on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube this afternoon. You look pretty swole right there in that picture, man. Looking pretty good in it. Is that photoshopped at all? Is that all natural?
Well, they fed us pretty good up there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they maxed their budget out. They didn't max the budget out on the hotel room, but they definitely maxed it out on the food. I mean,
Nice.
we ate like kings and queens every day, and part of it I was saying in my YouTube video last night as I started to eat those desserts.
Right.
I was about 4 or 5 days into it before I knew that this big production trailer in the very back wasn't filled with bathrooms. It was actually a dessert trailer. And I'm like, are you kidding? I've been missing out on all these desserts.
Oh,
I
man.
mean, they had every cheesecake and cake and cookies, pies that you could possibly imagine in there. I was like, wow.
Well, real quick before I let you get out of here, buddy, folks can, of course, a couple of things I want to plug in there. We talked about the pizza challenge last night. There's actually a promo code that you've got with Papa John's Pizza that people can get a discount, right, on their Papa John's Pizza. Is that a public code? Can you share that with everybody watching out there?
Yeah, that's public. I don't get any commission off of it or anything, but everybody knows how much I love pizza.
Yeah.
And Papa John's hooks me up with some gift cards from time to time.
Right.
Just putting out content for them. So
They're
DWF25.
So it's a DWF25. That's your enabler code right there, basically. They're like, here, take it. Take our pizza. Take our pizza. Yeah. DWF25. Anybody can use that promo code at checkout. And it's, how much is it? 25% off your order? What is it? Or one pizza? What does it work?
25 off. Yeah.
Very, very cool there. And check out your Instagram, Facebook pages, and things like that. If folks out there are looking to switch up their workouts, especially in these quarantine type workouts, you've got some really simple workouts that people can do at home or in their backyard or wherever it is safely before the gyms get back open here in Southern Kentucky. They can check out that content as well, right, on your social media pages.
Right. Dreamweaverfit.com is
Yep.
my main website.
Yep.
I've got apparel on there. If you're local around Glasgow or Bowling Green, I do a meal prep service uh, through my website. It's cooked at El Mazatlan. You can pick it up once a week. Uh, but man, I've got to. Next time I see The Rock, I got to tell him thanks. I mean, ever since he gave me a shout out on his Instagram page, I've got a little over 4,000
Wow.
extra followers in the last week. So business has been booming.
Fantastic.
You wouldn't think that a bunch of people were wanting to sign up for coaching during this quarantine, but I think everybody realizes that hey, it's almost over and we need to start getting on track. So I've definitely seen a boom in the coaching, which I'm thankful for.
And also a big.
I've got plenty of programs. Like if you don't want to hire me as a coach, I've got a homemade pump program where you're using bands primarily. I've got a pandemic pump program which I wrote the first week of lockdown, and it's dumbbell only, mainly because I tore up a band.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that video. Yeah. That's one of those. That's one of those videos that end up like on Influencers Gone Wild or one of those sites, where it's like, yeah.
It went viral on TikTok. It's got like 200,000 on it. So people thought that was funny. So I was like, well, I better get back to the dumbbells. So I created a program there. I rented out a storage unit. So I've been, I'm still hitting that up. So you don't have to have a gym to make progress. You just need to burn some calories and you need to stay out of the snacks. It's easy to do right now. You're staying at home a lot more. You venture off, look in the fridge, start looking for answers in the fridge.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know that all too well, Bartley, all too well, my friend.
I'll do it every night.
Well, buddy, I appreciate it. Hey, man. Well, I appreciate the time. Big shout out as well to our buddy Robert Irvine, watching, of course, on Twitter today. One of your buddies as well, and we've become tight with him and from Restaurant Impossible and stuff. So big shout out to some of those guys. But Bartley, real quick, buddy, appreciate the time as always. Thanks for taking some time for us. We can't wait to see you back out on the field with the Tennessee Titans this football season as Hyperion. But before then, folks here in Southern Kentucky really need to tune in on May 25th and root you on as you compete in the Titan Games on NBC, hosted and created by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, along with many, many others. Bartley, appreciate your friendship. Appreciate the time, man. I'll let you get back to it. I feel like you need to go do some cardio or something after 13,000 calories.
Hey, I'm doing legs today, and I'm going to edit that video on about an hour of the Stairmaster. So I'm going to put it in today.
Good stuff, buddy. Appreciate it. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Hey, thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
That's the one and only Bartley Weaver right there. Dream Weaver Fit, the man amongst men right there for sure. And just one of the real good guys as well out there in Southern Kentucky. The Titan Games on NBC on May the 25th. You can see that big joker right there above my head right here. On that show on May the 25th. It is the Tony Rose Livecast here on Twitter, Facebook, and on YouTube. We appreciate you guys watching with us today on this May 4th. I've got my Star Wars shirt on. May the 4th be with you guys. And before we get out of here today, today's good news. Really good story right here. It's been a tough year for 5-year-old Rosie Shooter of Grand Rapids, Michigan. She's been battling cancer. Our thoughts are with her. Rosie's family wanted to celebrate her finishing her last chemotherapy session and being declared cancer-free. But, of course, social distancing guidelines made it impossible for her to throw a big party for her. She's already immune compromised. So instead of having a bunch of people come to her home to honor her, Rosie's family organized a big parade past her driveway. More than 80 cars filled with family members, friends, and more from the community got together and drove by the house with horns honking and people waving through windows and sunroofs. Rosie was delighted and smiling at everyone who rolled through to show their support of her brave battle against cancer. One thing to think about in the middle of all this pandemic stuff, all the COVID-19 stuff, is the fact there are people fighting much, much bigger battles out there like young Rosie. So hats off to you for kicking cancer in the butt. Very, very awesome story there. Tomorrow on our live cast, we're back at 7 p.m. tomorrow. We're going to be joined by Farmer Carl Cheney from Cheney's Dairy Barn, one of the local businessmen out there who's going through the battles that we're all going through right now. And he's still getting up at 4 a.m. like I am because the cow's got to be milked. We're going to talk to him. He is one of the real personalities in our community as well. Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. here on the live cast, he joins us. Don't forget, tomorrow morning on my station, D93, we're going to make another person a $100 winner with our D93 stimulus package. That's right, 610, 710, and 810. We'll give you the stimulus song of the day, and then sometime before 6 p.m., we will play that song and give away $100 in cold hard cash. Awesome stuff there. Thank you again to Bartley Weaver for joining us. DreamweaverFit.com. Titan games on NBC May 25th. Hyperion at Tennessee Titan home football games. And, of course, just out there, influencer and competitive eater. Everything in the middle of it. One of the real unique characters in our community. Have a great rest of your Monday. Enjoy the sunshine today, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. with Farmer Carl from Cheney's Dairy.